Okay, so as the organizer and moderator, I would like to invite the first panel, all the panelists come up to the stage. We have the final last Q&A. So Alan, Matt, Richard, and Harry. And we're going to share one mic with Matt downstairs and Tay and Royce, because this final Q&A is for the entire speakers. So we have 15 minutes left. So we're going to be very straight, no overtime. All the charter bus will be leaving at 6 and 6:15. So we have 15 minutes left. So I was told that there's many questions not being answered from the first panel. Do we have an extra mic? Okay, any questions? Be aggressive, okay? You know, here, you know, we all coming from Silicon Valley. So can you pass the mic to, and we have mics here too, right? Too.
Hi, yes. For a Hong Kong startup currently in private beta mode, currently trying to lock in a round of funding, what kind of advice would you give for us when we want to launch our, I guess, PR strategy when we fully go into a public beta mode? We currently have our co-founders based in Vancouver, but we're kind of weighing the pros and cons of either being based out of Silicon Valley, starting from ground zero, or trying to make a name for ourselves in Vancouver. So basically, like, how would we go about, in terms of our story, should we be branded as a Vancouver startup or just try and get into Silicon Valley?
I just have a chance to moderate 2 investment panel for Silicon Valley China Wireless Conference. It's a 2-day conference, and so I have all the VC partners on my panel. So this question actually come up. It's like, okay, so does it matter where the startup is based or founded, region, area, geographic? And then I was really surprised that you know, the VC actually said that it doesn't really matter because they look at all the successful cases like Angry Bird. They are not from Silicon Valley. App Annie is not from US. And the list go on and on. Even many messaging app like WhatsApp, Line, WeChat. So VC are getting smarter. They look at numbers. So they are hiring data scientists to actually mine the data from the App Store, from the web. So they know all the numbers before you even go talk to them. So you'd be surprised, you know, that they might know a lot about who's doing well in the App Store or web ranking, searching, social media, social network ranking before you even approach them. So my advice is you need to actually do all the regular stuff like most small, medium-sized business like web, SEO, SEM, get a lot of the $0 user acquisition strategy, tactics, then leverage social network. Please use a lot of the social network because I'm coming from Silicon Valley and most of the startup that doing really well, like founder startup or YC, they are very good, extremely good in using Facebook and Twitter and other, you know, media to help them to acquire massive, you know, user at a very good growth rate. So we're talking about 20 to 40% or even 100%, either month to month or year to year. So when you launch your product, do not just rush because you have a product, functional prototype or product. Really spend some time and effort to organize your PR and marketing strategy, your sales effort. Because a lot of times, you know, a lot of the founders make mistake. They just focus on making things work, but they forgot that, you know, they should spend equal amount of effort and money, time on marketing, on launching the product. Okay, all right, next.
Hello. So my question goes more with fundraising. So if you think you are too early or you are actually not interested like in any fund right now and you have offers, so how do you like sort of like politely turn down the VC while keeping them warm like for later like stage investment? So for my company, we do have 3 offers from 3 groups of investors, but we think we have not enough traction to actually like show like what we have now. So how do you go about it?
For my advice or
Oh yeah, like
because
anyone, like, because you guys are the investors. So we are dealing with investors right now, and it's been like it's pretty taxing because it takes a lot of our time, like giving them the figures, projection, giving them like going through all the legal process. But we have the funds. We don't really need the investments.
Okay, so this is my advice. Okay, so my advice is if you're a founder, focus on product, getting the customer, the revenue, and then when you feel you're ready, then go raise fund. Even though they have a lot of investor knocking on the door, but focus, getting the result first. Because when you get nail the results and the product, investor will come, the money will come. But this is a very big distraction. Fundraising is a full-time job. If you are founder, you're building product, managing engineer, doing all sort of stuff, you don't really have time. And then fundraising, take up a lot of your time. You get distracted, you affect your result. So a lot of time, I advise the startup that I work with, I will get them to actually really focus on getting results. And when they're ready, then go raise fund. And also don't take free money. Like, tons of people actually say, well, I have money, I want to invest. But I always ask them to take the wise money, smart money. People actually can help you, not just money. Um, so back to yourself. It's like, are you ready to fundraise? If you're not ready, then maybe you should actually focus on the business, getting all the numbers. And when you have the growth rate and the revenue and the user base, then you can actually spend full time as a founder CEO to raise fund, and you talk to more investor and find out who actually can help you. I always ask the advice founders. I say, well, yeah, so and so approach me, or they actually have X amount of dollar, to invest. But I ask them, so how could they help you? I look for how they help you and what they offer more than the money. That's my advice.
I absolutely agree with Bess. It also sounds like you're fairly far along in the process. You mentioned you're going through legal processes, and
And we are just thinking like, is there any way we can actually like tell them, hey, wait, like we have a demo day, like please come by like during demo day and we can talk after.
I think you did that extremely well just now. So first of all, congratulations on the multiple offers and people
Thank you.
sending in term sheets. That's quite a feat. And I think basically you can just be honest with the investors and just say, look, we feel like we're not at a stage where traction would demonstrate the value. We think it'll be in your interest and our interest, right, in the mutual interest of both the company and the investor to watch more to such that you can demonstrate that traction. If you're already in the legal discussion sort of phase, I think that's a little late, but better late than never. So, I would advise that you.
They approach our incubator, so we don't have much like say over it, because our incubator is our major investor right now.
Oh.
Yeah. So they talk to the incubator. They don't really talk to us.
Well, I would still politely, ask the investor to be patient, to let you focus on, like building, the product, getting everything right, getting all the numbers that you need to hit in order to compete with other, startup. So I think, coming from the investment circle, I think that, the VC will appreciate your honesty and your transparency, and they will also like to invest founder who actually really focus in getting the business going.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Leo. I'm currently an undergraduate in Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, and thank you a lot for the sharing, and it has been very valuable to us. And my friends and I have made a mobile startup, which we have won the champion of young entrepreneur this year, 2013. And I would like to ask for what can we do as young entrepreneur right now to prepare for the future? Given that we might not have the competitive edge of technology or business side, and at the same time, we're willing to put our time and effort to learn and to progress. And I mean, we have already skipped one semester of classes, so yeah, we are willing to do that. Thank you.
Well, that's great because I love dropouts. Yeah, I invest into several dropouts, and then I love this guy. I think well, when I actually first graduated from college, so I have a lot of offers from Fortune 500s, and then I ended up deciding to start up. And I still remember first 3 months, I had this notebook and then just figure out what I'm going to do. But that process is what I love the most. And I think as an entrepreneur in this mobile and consumer-oriented era, you have so many free resources where you can leverage. For example, cloud service. Before I have to, buy my own hardware and try to set up a server. So you actually have a better opportunity to try out your ideas. I can tell you, I have 3 companies. They pivot 10 different products before they find the products. Yeah, at least 10 within 1 year. So I think being an entrepreneur, you are able to try out many things with limited cost right now. But at the same time, you have to have that ability. I mean, train yourself to cut loss. Like, oh, this project, I know how to evaluate, my ideas. Pivot, try, and then you'll find your way. So good luck.
Any questions specific for Harry or Richard? Okay, back there.
Thanks for the sharing today. I'm the teaching assistant of entrepreneurship in the University of Hong Kong. And then I'm sorry, I forget who had the experience, have a cooperation with the Hong Kong entrepreneur. But I would like to ask is, what are the advantages and the disadvantages of Hong Kong entrepreneur compared to other Asians? Yeah, thank you.
Richard?
So you're talking about like advantages and disadvantages, like strengths and weaknesses in Hong Kong. Fundamentally, I don't see a lot of differences, like honestly. I think one thing is probably more like by the circumstance or the environmental. It's like in general, I guess like in Hong Kong, people are a little more risk averse. So jumping into the deep end of the pool to do a startup takes a lot more courage than I would say. I have a lot of like friends in Beijing. They just say, "Hey, let's do it." Like it's natural to them. But in Hong Kong, probably because like people would prefer to get a job at maybe like a high-paying job in banking or like corporate. So I think the mentality of like risk, how much risk you can take, I think that is what gonna cause people not to take advantage of something they're really passionate about. But on the other hand, in Hong Kong, I would say you look at the living condition, it's definitely better than Beijing. I live in Beijing and I have to worry about like what's the pollution index today, and what the food is going to poison me. Then you look at the business condition in Hong Kong, the infrastructure, it's great. It's not a lot of places you can just start a company in a week. The legal, all the infrastructures you have Cyberport here, you have like other like Hong Kong's science park, all these resources to help you. So I think Hong Kong definitely have the advantages here as well. If you can overcome the fear of like, can I take that risk to do something I'm passionate about, then I think there's a lot more positive things than negative things.
Okay, I think we approached the end of the 50 minutes. So I'm going to ask all the speaker. Oh, we have 5? Okay, any other questions for Harry, like about China? Yeah, and US? Go ahead.
Not exactly China, but just want to pose a question to Richard, right? Exactly. Well, I'm from Singapore as well. I'm currently a founder of a B2B startup, okay, in the recruitment space. So just want to ask, if let's say a startup approach you and comes out with a valuation, how would you advise early startups like us on how to value your company?
Well, I guess I'll start. Other people have more experience than I do. Well, the first thing is I will look at the data. So you probably go to Angel's List, or you go to CrunchBase, you go to like a lot of like database and see like in your industry, in your like roughly about like the stage, what's the average like valuation? And at the end of the day, between like say like a 3 million valuation or a 3.5 million valuation, honestly, nobody really cares. Yeah, so as long as it's reasonable and you have like a great product that you can show that it has a potential, valuation is the last thing I will worry about.
Any other short questions?
I actually have
Oh, okay, go
advice.
ahead.
Yeah, so to me in early stage, actually, usually when team come to me, there's actually a significant portion the team hasn't even registered a company. So they just left out of school, or left Tencent, Baidu, or Facebook. So when they come to you, so I think as a early stage startup, you want to make sure that you have enough stake going forward to recruit and to invite more talents to join you, because single man cannot make everything. You want to make sure that the best partner or the best people that you've meet can join you. So if you are looking for C stage or pre-A, I would say for investor, it's better not over, I said, 25%, because sometimes people ask very like a lot, but that actually hurts entrepreneur, because if you do the math, when you enter Series A or B, the founder basically is not the majority, right? And then you lose incentive. Then once you lose incentive, you don't want to work on your own project. You want to move on other projects. So plan for the long run. Especially a lot of people when they raise early stage funding, they kind of rush their pace. They want to get money as soon as possible, and then can move forward. And then you sacrifice or compromise. Don't do that. Make sure you don't do that. Yeah, that's the advice I give you.
Okay, I'm looking for the best last question. Short. Best. Okay.
Very, very short. Is that practical to fly over Silicon Valley, hand over fulfillment, socialize? Is that a practical approach? And how would you, what do you think as an investor, a successful investor? What's the element in it? What's your opinion?
Well, I think I would definitely encourage you to go to Silicon Valley, not just to raise fund or networking, but actually going there, you actually get to meet, because like in Silicon Valley is actually if you ask, I'm sure Baz had the experience where it's very easy to access to many people. There's a lot of event, and I think people is really extremely open-minded to share, give you advice. So it's really a experience to open, your exposure. And then once you have exposure, it actually stimulates your thinking, and then you actually get more idea how to move forward. So it's definitely worthwhile to go in there, to just meet people, talk to people. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. If you never been to Silicon Valley, you should go out and open yourself to see what's out there because the culture and the network, everything is very different. The spirit and habit. So you need to actually go outside Hong Kong to see the global market, and then you can see more lights, more possibility, more potential, and stretch yourself. Go beyond your imagination and find your destiny. I'm I always have late night talk with founders. I inspire them. They usually call me when they are really down or depressed or running into problems, and that's the time that I receive the phone calls and email whatever. But that's the time that I can always keep them going. Inspire them. So thank you so much for Cyberport for everything, and thank you for coming. But if you think that we didn't address any problems or issues about Hong Kong startup fundraising whatsoever, please, sign up Twitter, follow me, butt me on Twitter, tell me your problem, and I might respond you there. Okay? So, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna ask all the panelists to stay around the stage. So if you want business card or ask other questions, you can. So we're gonna stay here for 5-10 minutes. Thank you. Oh, cocktail outside too.